Hello guys, this is a tutorial that how we implement GameLift to our Unreal 4 project with this plugin called GameLift with Blueprint. This video has two parts. First part is we going to upload dedicated server to the GameLift, and the second part is we'll go back to Blueprint to write some code to let our player to join the server. Okay, so let's do the first part. And this project is C++ project created by Unreal 4 source code. If you don't know how to download source code, you can watch my previous video. Okay, so we go to the settings and click the project settings. And on the left side, we go to maps and mode. And in the server default map, we have to choose a map to be the base map of the server. It means that when a player connect to the server, it will go to this map. So I'm gonna choose this map, this third person example map to the server default map. Okay, and we're going to create a game mode. So I'll just create a new folder. I call it AWS a GameLift test and create a game mode. I just call it GameLift test game mode. Alright, and we're gonna choose we can change them these maps right here there's world settings. We change its game mode to the GameLift test game mode I just created. After you change the game mode, make sure you change the default characters. So I will choose third person characters. So when I click play, it has a character. Okay, and we go to this game mode. So in the begin player, so I'm gonna do something. First we're going to search init SDK, and then we have to decide it if it's go unsuccessful, and we print the error string. We print the error message. And this time we're going to create a new blueprint. There is called process parameters. So and I will change the name to GameLift process parameters. Okay, and then we have several functions. We have to override them. The first is the health check, and make sure you add call to parent function. And process terminate, add a call to parent function, and rest of them do the same. Okay, and go back to the game mode, and after the init SDK, we're gonna search construct object from class. This class we're gonna choose the GameLift process parameter, which I just created. Okay, and the alter is gonna be self, and the port we have to give it a port. The port is gonna be server get server IP address, and we have a port connected. Alright, and after the return value, you're gonna search process ready, and make sure you're gonna print the error message if it goes unsuccessful. Okay, and now we change our server default map to third example map, and we change the game mode of this map to the game mode that I just created. Okay, so we start to build our dedicated server. So in this Windows, I'm gonna go down to find the project launcher. So on the right top, and there is an advanced button. You can click it, and the third one is your Windows, and on the left side, on the right side, we're gonna choose a Windows Server. The config is development, alright, and the data build is gonna be the by the book. And before this, we still had to do one more thing. Is we go back to project settings. In the all settings, you're gonna search. You're gonna search list. You're gonna search map, and go down. You will find that there is a list of map to include in a package build. And you're gonna add a element. So you're gonna choose the map that the map is just called what is the map? The map is called third person example map. So it should be located to okay, right here, the third person example map dot .eu map. All right, and click open. And now I have one map in the list. And we go back to project launcher, and we can click launch. I think now you find an error called server target not found. So at this moment, you have to go back to your project files and go into the source folder, and we're gonna create it a server target. And how we do this, we're gonna copy this editor target, copy, and change its name. We're gonna remove editor, and we're gonna put the server, and we need to edit it. I'll just choose Visual Studio, whatever. So we're gonna remove all string with editor. For example, I'm gonna remove this editor and change it to server. And we have editor right here, and we remove it and change it to server. Oh wait, and there's also editor. We're gonna remove it and change it to server. There are three. There are three, and you click save, and you Control S to save and close it. Okay, and right now you can click run again. And now it's working. Okay, now my dedicated server is finished to build. So where is the location of your dedicated server? It should be in your project files, and you go to saved and go to stage builds, and this is the dedicated server that you just built in this project launcher. So we're gonna put three required files in this folder of this dedicated server. Okay, so I just put three files into this folder of this dedicated server, and I will put the download link to the description. And now it's time to upload our dedicated server to the GameLift. So we're gonna upload this folders. This folder is the dedicated server. If we want to upload our Unreal 4 dedicated server to the GameLift server, we have to use AWS command line. So basic process is that we have to upload our dedicated server to form a build, and we create a fleet based on this build. And after we finished created this fleet, we get its fleet ID, and we go back to Unreal 4, use this fleet ID to connect and to join the server. And then for right now we have already had a dedicated server, so the first thing we're going to do is to upload a build. How we do the build is that we're going to use this command. You're gonna fill in those information like name and the version and your dedicated server's pace, and then do it on the command prompt. But now we have to download something to let this command to work on our Windows computer. And so we go to this page, and I will share this page in the description. And on the right side, we have to download the AWS command line interface. Only we have this installed in our computer, then we can use this command to do whatever we want. Okay, and then we click to. So the only thing I just need to click accept and click next and install. Okay, I just downloaded the AWS command line, and now we have. But but before we use this command to upload our dedicated server, we have to do some configuration. So we're gonna we're gonna open a command. We're gonna type AWS command, AWS configure, configure. Oh, it should be AWS configure. Okay, now you have to put your access key ID. Okay, and then you have to put your secret access key. And now you have to put the default region name. For example, my region is US East 1, so I will just put here US East 1. And the data output format is going to be JSON. Okay, and we just finished our configuration, and now we can start use our command to upload our dedicated server. So I'm just gonna copy and paste. So first I'm gonna. So we have to put a name. Put a name. So I may give it a name called GameLift. GameLift test build. And the version. The version I'm gonna give it 1.0. And the build root is gonna be your build pace of your dedicated server. Okay, now this is my project folders, and we go to saved and save builds and the Windows server, and this gonna be your paste. And the paste is you're going to put right here. Okay, so I'm just click it and click the home and copy paste. Okay, and now the region is gonna be the same as your website. Like my website, there is US East 1. So after this is US East 1. Okay, so no problem. And I am gonna click the enter. And now you have to be patient to wait until it's uploaded to the build. So we're gonna refresh this page. So you will see that there's a new build called a GameLift test build that I just name it, and the build version is 1.0. Okay, that's it, and the OS is Windows 2012 R2. Okay, everything good. So after. Okay, now and my dedicated server is successfully uploaded to the build. So let's refresh this page, see if the statue changed. Now it says ready. Okay, so we're gonna use this build to make a fleet. So we just give it name to GameLift test fleet. And the fleet type, make sure it's spot. It will be cheaper. And the build is the build that I just uploaded. So the build will include my dedicated server. Okay, and now the instant type, you can choose a free tier, the save C5 large, and the server process location. And now you have to give it launch pace, and the fleet will use this pace to launch our dedicated server. So where is the launch path? It should be in your dedicated server, and you go to your project name, like for example, my project is named GameLift Test. So you go this folder, and not this U project. You go this binaries, and there is Win164, and the first one, GameLift Test Server .exe, is gonna be the pace of the launch path. So so you're gonna copy. from your project name to Win64, and after this you're gonna put your executable files. So I will copy its name, and after this .exe. All right, and behind this we have a concurrent process. So we just testing. So I just gonna give it 20. So the fleet will open 20 dedicated server in this server. So and there is a game session activation. So because we have a 20 process, so I will just give it to limit to 20 pre-instance. Okay, and we go down. We have port settings. So actually, we're going to give it two ports. First of all, it's gonna be 7777 and dash 7796, and the second port is gonna be 3389. Okay, and the first protocol is gonna be UDP. The second we give it TCP is okay, and the IP address range, they both are gonna be 0.0.0.0/0, and make sure you click the green check. And in this launch page, make sure you click the green check. And the protection policy, I will just give it full protection. Okay, and then right on side we have initialize fleet. Click it, and now it says the statue is new, so we have to wait. We have to wait until the statue became activate. Okay, now my fleet is activated. It means that my fleet is created successfully, and now I also get its fleet ID. So we go back to a report. So starts the second part of this video, and now we should before we connect to the fleet, our server. So I'm gonna make a map for the transition map. I would say an entry map. Entry map. Okay, so I'm gonna use this map, and after begin play and go connect to this server. So I'm gonna open the level blueprint. Okay, and the begin play. So first thing you need to do is to create it GameLift object, and you need to structure. First is AWS credential, and second is client configuration. Actually, you only need to set three things. First thing is you have to put your access key ID, and second is your secret key ID, and the third is gonna be your region. I just filled in my access key ID and a secret key, and my region is US East 1, and here is US East 1. It's okay because the default region is US East 1, so you have to check your GameLift if it's in your same region right here. Make sure you have to change it, it's very important. And I'm gonna prompt it to a variable, and I'm gonna change it to GameLift client object. What is GameLift client object? Because we only do the things in our client instead of a server, instead of dedicated server. Okay, and now we're going to describe. No, we're going to create it a game session. Game session is a method that a game contain a lot of players together, and with the statics and the number of the player, the statics of each player's information are going to be sent it to the GameLift. And before and for creating the game session, we need to fill in a request. So the AWS resource name, I'm gonna put my fleet ID here. And the maximum player session count, I will give it to 10. And the session name, just test one, and the game property, you can create it array, and you can give a key, for example, game mode. I will give it to deathmatch, and maybe the any information that you can create, for example, a game map. I'll enter that maybe it should be third person example map or whatever. So you can put whatever you want. And the created ID, we will set this later. And the game session ID, if you put a game session ID, then the game session ID will be set to the game session ID that you give. If you don't put the game session ID, and they will create a random game session ID. Okay, and then after the completely, and we're gonna print the error message if it's on success. And after it created a session successfully, we're gonna scratch the result, and there is a game session structure. And there is IP address and ports. So I'm gonna use append to make them together. The port. Alright, and the last thing is I'm gonna uh, open level to this IP. Okay, now I'm gonna run this map. You see, and right now we just connected to the server. So if you go to the game session, you'll find there is a session name called test1. You can see right here, the entry map. I just created a game session, and the game session name is test1. This name is also session test1. Everything okay, and they has a player session. The maximum is 10, and I just set the maximum player session count to 10, so everything should be okay. And now my game is in the third person example map. So what is third person example map? It's the server default map in the dedicated server. So I just connected to the server, so everything all set. So I will do it again. Like I will change the name to test2, and set the maximum player session count to 5. And then let's run again. So wait a second. Now I joined this server. So we go back and refresh this page. Now I just created a new session called test2, and the maximum player is 5. So everything should be okay. So I'm gonna stop it. So let's just go over this. So first things, if you want to do everything with your GameLift, your first thing you have to get your GameLift client object. And now, before you join the server, you must join a game session. If you don't have a game session, then you can create a game session, and you put your fleet ID. You can set your plate session account, and you can set whatever you want the game properties. And then after you finish, after the game session is created successfully, it will return several information about this game session, and you can use the IP and the port and open level and to join the game session. The game session will occupy a game process. The game process is one dedicated server. We set this fleet before is 20 process. So after the fleet successfully built, and it will open 20 process. It will open 20 dedicated server. And once we created a game session, the game session will occupy one process. and then after we created the game session, we connect its IP and the port, then we can go to that process. Okay, so there's also many information returned like game session, name, the fleet ID, fleet arm, whatever. So I think everybody found the problem is we have already joined the so see that I joined the map, but there's also is one player in the one player session. Why? Because we only joined to the dedicated server. We didn't create a player session. The player session is to let the GameLift to know we have a one people is connecting to the GameLift uh, fleet. So if we want to set the player session, if we want to set if someone is joining to this map, the player session is going to be one. So very easy. Before we are going to join the dedicated server, we are going to create it. We are going to create a player session. So we're going to use this client object to search created player session. Okay, and and we also need to file the request. So what is AWS resource name? It would be the game session that we join to, because we just joined the game session that we just created. So we're gonna need the game session ID that we just created, and the player ID. We must give it a player ID, but we didn't set cognito in right now. So we can give it a random player ID. So I'm gonna search random UUID, the UID, and connect it. Okay, so this is a random ID. So I'm use random ID for my player ID. Okay, and after the complete and the successful, if it's unsuccessful, we're gonna print the error message. So after I create a player session, I'm gonna connect it to the dedicated server. So actually, it should be that after you connect it to the dedicated server and you create a player session, but at this moment, I will just, before we connect to the dedicated server, we create a player session. So let's start. Okay, now I join the server. So I will refresh this page. You see that we have a game session, and you see the player session, we have a one people is connecting to this server. Why? Before we connect to the dedicated server, we created a player session, so it will count it as one. So we go into the game session, the statue is gonna be reserved. Why it's gonna be reserved? Because we didn't accept player session in the GameLift server. So next video I'm gonna teach you guys that how we activated the player session in this server. So when every player session join to a game session, they start with reserved. So you must accept player session. But if you have a long time that you didn't accept the player session, the player statue is going to be timed out. It's not good. It means that the player session is leaving. It has left. But actually, the our player is still in the game. So if you want, so we must accept the player session if the player still in the game. So next, we're going to do is to let a multiple player to join same game session. So we have already have a three game session. We don't need to create a game session anymore. So we are going to search game session, and then we join the game session. Okay. So how we gonna search the game session? So let me delete those things. We leave the player ID, but we don't need the create game session anymore. So in the client object, you're gonna search describe game session. Oh, maybe we can use a search game session. Search game session. And we're gonna put the address source name. I'll put my fleet ID. So after I put my fleet ID, it will return an array. It will return an array of the game session that the fleet has. So I will say it will return a 3 game session because it has 3 game sessions in this fleet. So we have 3 structure in this array. Okay, let me put my string. Let me print string the error message. So I will choose the first game session. Get to the first one, like this. So break the game session, and I connect it to the created player session. Connect. Now I'm gonna, so this that we are going to search the game session, the how many game session that we have under fleet, and it will return all the game sessions. And I'm gonna get the first session. It should be this one, test one, and get the first session and use its game session ID and create a player session and to join its IP and to connect to the IP to connect to the dedicated server. So at this moment, if we can also get the IP after the player session. So if you get the IP from the player session or play the game session, it should be same. So whatever, it depends on yours. Okay, so I will open two. I'll open two standalone game. Now we have a two-player. They're in the same server. So let's go back and refresh the page. Now I have. Oh, it should be this one is first. Alright, whatever. Now I have a two-player sessions. Why? Because each client and they create a player session. So now I have a two client. Now I have a two client. So it should be two. Yeah.